Hey guys, welcome to another Funky Marketing show episode. And today I will talk about, actually, with my guest, I will talk about things that are really interesting for all of us. So many people are talking about it in a different way. It's branding, it's content, it's LinkedIn, and it's simplifying all the things. And I think today I have the perfect guest to kind of discuss with me all these topics. And his name is Jason Vana. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm excited to be here with you.
Did I pronounce it right? It's Vana?
It's depends. In America, it's Vana, but my last name actually is Czech, so it is Vana if you pronounce it the way it should be pronounced in the language that it was made in. So I respond to either one.
Yeah. It's kind of the thing that I have with Nemanja or Nemanja. It's kind of the same. I need to respond to both of them, but like in Europe and in these like Eastern European countries, we all say things like they are. Like we write them, that's how we read them. So like yeah is yeah, it's not J, but that's how it is. So tell me, man, how are you these days? I know that you just started working full time on your own business, and what's the feeling?
It's going well so far. Obviously, this is I think I was saying before the show that this was my second full week. I actually started working for myself the last week in November, but it was or not the last week, but the week of Thanksgiving. So it was like 2 days and then an American holiday. So second full week, been going well. Need to get more control over my calendar. And not let people book whenever they want to book, because I've got like 5 meetings today. But other than that, man, I'm loving it.
That's good. I think handling calendar is one of the things that you need to learn one way or the other. That's
Yes, it is.
usually how it goes. Like I needed to learn, for example, another thing, and it is that I need to make at least half an hour or an hour for people based in US. So like it's this time right now. It's like 6 p.m. here in Serbia. Just so you know that I don't do this kind of stuff with people at 6 in the morning. It's not the best time to do the podcast or to have the conversation about partnership and business.
Exactly. I would not be on the show if it was at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, kind of interesting. Like here in this part of the world, we are staying up to watch the NBA or some other stuff. But then, like, I like to wake up and do all the stuff until 10 a.m. Until the notification started to kind of disturb my working routine. So like do everything that you need to do in the first 2 hours, 3 hours of your work, then focus on meetings and all those other stuff.
Yep.
But okay, so tell me one thing. I'd like to start with that, and it is like, why do we need to keep things simple in everything that we do? Not only in marketing, but I think in life. And that's something I'm asking you because that's something that I'm seeing in your post and in those kind of things, like kind of the way you enjoy the nature during the weekends, the walks, those kind of things, like just simplifying things, let everything, uh, you know, go its own pace, but in a simple way, because life is about simple things, or at least if you know how to make it.
Yeah, I would say starting from the marketing side, like, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to trying to attract the right people to you, keeping things simple is what helps them understand what you do. So, for instance, if you look at my content on LinkedIn, I tell people, like, if you talk to any other marketer, my content on LinkedIn is like the basic, most like entry level. Like, I am not going to get an MBA based on the content I put out on LinkedIn. It is like fundamental. If you're in marketing, that is like, man, I learned that in college. That is basic as crap. But my target audience are business owners, whether they're solopreneurs or they're larger business owners, but they're business owners who understand the importance of marketing, but don't know how to do marketing. Like, they hear all these people saying things like, you have to be on TikTok, or you have to do this, you have to do that, you need lead pages, you need lead magnets, you need this, you need that. And like, they sit there. I actually had a discovery call with someone yesterday, and he was like, I made a list of all the things that I know I need to do marketing wise, and I need to hire like 5 people to do it because there's no way I could get it all done. And he was like, how do I know where to start? How do I know where to attack this and like at least start one thing? Like, I don't know what's most important. And that just seems to be the case for a lot of business owners who don't understand marketing. Is they're Google market your small business. There are millions of hits for advice, and this is what you should do. And if you don't understand marketing, you're gonna get lost. And so when I started making content on LinkedIn, I came at this idea of understanding, like, one, these are the people who are gonna hire me. They don't know marketing. And so if I can keep it super simple, that they could read a post of mine, understand what I'm saying, and have at least one thing that they could take and they could apply, then what's going to happen is I'm going to become the expert. Even though I look at other people that, like, they're talking a level that I'm like, I'm not that level of marketer. Like, I know what they're talking about. I could do that, but I'm never going to put out content like that because I'm not targeting other marketers who understand what you're saying. I'm talking to, I look at it this way. I try to explain what I do to my grandma, like someone who's like, what is Twitter? I've heard of the internet, but I don't know what the internet is. Like, that's the level that I try to explain marketing to, because if I can do that, these business owners that, know they need marketing, have no idea how to do marketing, they're the ones that are going to see me as, not only am I an expert, but I'm an expert that makes it simple for them to understand, so that they at least know some of the verbiage, they know some of the language, and they can have a decently intelligent conversation saying, oh, you said that in this post, I understand what you're talking about. And really take that and apply it throughout the rest of your life. Like, you're not going to stay consistent with anything if it's complex. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I have to jump through 20 different hoops to get to the result I want, yeah, I may have the let me use this as an example, like working out. If I have this really strict, like, here's specifically when I have to eat, what I have to eat, there's this very specific diet I have to follow, here's this very specific routine, and it's going to be 5 hours a day in the gym. But like, I might stick to that for a week or two and be like, yeah, this is awesome, I'm going to do it. But then after a while, life's going to catch up, and I'm going to be like, who the heck has 5 hours to spend in the gym? Who the heck has like 3 hours every day to meal prep 6 different meals? Each one has a different protein, like one's fish, one's like, I don't have the time to do all of that. So if I can keep it, even in life, if I can keep things super simple, that I don't have to think about them, I can just, like, almost out of habit, grab this, do this, then there's a greater chance that I'm going to stick with it. And it's the same thing I tell my content clients. Like, so at Shift, we do branding, we also do content, and part of the content we do is we create other people's LinkedIn content for them. And so what I tell them is like, we need to keep this process as simple as possible. So sometimes people will come and be like, how often should I post? Like, what is the ideal? And I'm like, every weekday. That is the ideal. You'll get more results because you're showing up in the feed more every day. But if you can't commit to be on the platform every day and engage every day, and you can't commit to like make that just part of your habit and your routine, don't start out with 5 days a week. Let's start out with one, build the habit and grow from there. Like, start simple. And then if it needs to become more complex, if you need to take on more, then do it. But if you start complex, you're never going to stay consistent with it. I'd rather see you consistent with 1 post a week than start with 5 posts a week and a month later you're just gone off the platform. Like, you're never going to see results that way. So yeah, like that simplicity, and I see it a lot on LinkedIn where people try to like capture every bit of knowledge they know on a single subject and put it into 1 post, and then the post is like super long and it's multiple paragraphs, and it's like, no one's going to read that. They're not going to understand it. If you can make it simple, they're going to understand it, and you can pull them further deeper down in other content. So for me, it's like, I tell people all the time, LinkedIn is the worst content you're going to get from me. It is the most basic. It is it's the worst content I put out because it's top of funnel. It is I'm going to catch you. I'm going to help you see that I'm an expertise. I'm going to show you that you're an expert, that I'm going to show you how simple this can be. But if you want more, you're going to sign up for my email newsletter, because that's where I take the simple and make it more complex and give you more examples, dive deeper into it, help you understand it at a, instead of understanding it at like a kindergarten level, I'm going to help you understand it at this level. But that's just kind of what I've seen works, especially on social media, on LinkedIn, is keep it simple and then go deeper in like an email newsletter, an online community, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hearing now, it means that you know your target group. Basically, you know what works for them, and you don't need to go outside of that. You know what works, you know who you're talking to, and that's what you do, and that's what all the things that you should care about, basically.
Yeah. And really that right there, and I actually have a post coming out tomorrow, about, I think it's tomorrow, about this, where like, if you, the most basic, most simple, like if you want to fix all of your marketing, all of your sales, you want to make everything as super easy as possible, get to know your target audience. Like, it really all comes down to that. I tell people, my camera's being dumb now. I tell people all the time, like, they'll come to me and be like, well, should I be on LinkedIn? Should I be here? Should I do an email newsletter? Should I do a podcast? Should I do this? Should I do that? And my response is always, it depends on what your target audience wants. Like, if you really know them, if you take the time, do some research, do some interviews with your target audience, get to understand what are their pain points, what are they looking for in a solution, like what is the experience that they want, what platforms do they want your content from. So this is just kind of a little side point. Just because your target audience is on another platform doesn't mean they want to engage with your type of content on that platform. So like for me, when I'm on LinkedIn, I'm there for business. I'm posting about marketing. I'm consuming stuff from my target audience. I'm consuming from other marketers, and branders. But when I'm on LinkedIn or when I'm on Instagram, I don't really want to see anything about marketing. Instagram is more of my escape. It's where I look at pictures of Check and what my friends and family are doing, and I'm looking at other like workout stuff, and I'm looking at dog pictures. Like, if you were trying to capture me as an ideal client, if you had some marketing platform and you wanted to capture me and you tried to target me on Instagram, you're not getting me, because I'm not going to engage. I'm not even going to look at that type of content on Instagram. So understanding your target audience helps you really answer all those questions, like all the complexity of marketing. Should I do this? Should I do that? What do people want? What type of content do they want? If you know your target audience, you're going to have all of those answers. And if you don't have those answers, it means get on the call with your target audience and ask them. If you have current clients, ask them. Be like, hey, I am looking at starting on Instagram. This is the type of content I'm thinking about putting out. Is that something you would consume on the platform? And if enough of them who are like those ideal clients, those clients that you're like, these are the ones, if I had 20 clients like this, my life would be wonderful. If they all say no, it's going to be a waste of time. Even if you see your competitors on the platform, it's going to be a waste of time. And so it's why even when we start working with clients, the very first step is we do a customer blueprint. Like we help them understand who their customers are. We do customer interviews. Like we pick 3 of their ideal customers, do customer interviews with them, because if you don't have that down, nothing else is going to be right. Doesn't matter if you're talking to an expert or not, like if you're working with a branding expert or not, if they don't know and you don't know your ideal customers, nothing they produce is going to be as on point as possible. And so like even just going back to the simplicity, you want to make this complex thing of marketing super simple. Get to know your ideal clients. They will give you the answers. Like even some of the verbiage they use, we have used in the brand messaging we've developed for clients. Like their clients will say, oh yeah, this, that, or the other. And we're like, those are words that of the three clients we interviewed, all 3 said this. That is going in your brand messaging, because that is something you, and this is what most people don't understand. It's probably something you don't even think they want from you. Most clients I work with, they're like, man, this is the reason why people buy from us. And then we talk to their ideal clients and it's like, that didn't even make the list of the top 5 reasons why they work with you. So all of your messaging, because you've wrapped all your messaging around this, all of it's wrong. This is why you're not generating leads, is because you're making assumptions and you're not actually talking to your ideal customers. If you actually talk to them and find out that, like we practice what we preach. So we do interviews with our clients and we ask them like, okay, why did you decide to work with us? What caused you to even just get on the discovery call, and what caused you to say yes? Number 1 reason, you guys are no nonsense and very practical in your content. Like we can see you know what you're doing and you're not trying to upsell us things we don't need. You're not trying to like just push stuff on us that isn't going to help. But then we also know if you are telling us to do something, we really should do it, because you aren't the fluff guy. You aren't the guy that's going to be like, yeah, you need this when really you need this.
Yeah.
You aren't those guys. And if we come up with something, if we say something, you guys are going to call us out on it. If we say something like, oh yeah, we need to do this, and you're like, that's a shit idea, you're going to tell us that. You're not going to sugarcoat it. You're not going to be like, well, I mean, if you want to do it, we'll do it. Like you're going to tell us, do it if you want. It's not going to make you money. Just letting you know, you can give me, and I like, even in my discovery calls, I say this all the time, and people are just like, you're so weird. Is I'll be like, man, you don't really need this. Do this instead, and it'll be cheaper for you. It'd be better for you. And I always say like, I feel like I'm talking myself out of making more money here. And they're like, you are, but that's okay. Like we trust you now that you're not just trying to sell us something we don't need. You're actually trying to help us like get the results that we need.
Yeah. Look, man, I think all of us that really understand and care for what we are doing and care about the customers think the same way and do the same things.
Yeah.
Like I often ask people, I try to make them go away from working with us. Like, why do you want to work with us? Why specifically with us? Like, we're different. I'm totally honest and direct, and I'm gonna tell you when you're talking bullshit or doing bullshit. And if you cannot put up with this, let's just not start the conversation about working together. And then, but I'm also gonna tell you, like, this is the way that we should do things, this isn't the good way to do things. Like if I cannot do something, I will tell you, I don't know how to do this, maybe you should find somebody else, and I can maybe suggest someone.
Right.
But it's not something that I'm gonna take on myself to do if I'm not the best at it, because
Right.
that's not the way we should do things.
Well, and I think you pointed on something, like, this is going down a different tangent here, but I do that as well in the discovery calls. It's like, you need to convince me for me to work with you. Even though you're the client, you're the one that's going to pay me. I want you to convince me that you're a good fit. And when you do that, like, and this is just a sales like it's a sales tactic. And in all honesty, like, when you do that, what happens is they are overcoming their own objections, and they're already stating, this is why I want to work with you. Well, now when it comes down to here's the proposal, they already have in their heads, I want to work with you because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, that's hard then in their brains to say, we're not going to work with you because I've already stated, here's why I want to. And if those are good reasons, like if they come up with really solid reasons why they want to work with you, it's going to be very hard not to. And so, yeah, like having some of those little sales tips in there of, man, convince me I should take you on as a client. And like you said, we're the same way. Like, there's things that we will do and we can do well, and then there's things that, like, I can do, but it's not going to be the best. And in that case, I have a list of people that I'm like, hey, if you want that, like, for instance, LinkedIn ads, I can totally do LinkedIn ads. I do LinkedIn ads for Shift, but one, I'm not the best at it. I don't have the processes down. I don't know it as well as other people. So when someone comes to me and says, I want LinkedIn ads, I've got a partner company that we work with that we just say, hey, this is a company that our clients have used. They've seen awesome results. Go work with them. I'm not going to be able to replicate what they can do for you. And that just builds that trust with people of, like, you're not just trying to take my money, you actually want me to get results.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've been thinking about this. Actually, that's why we did the kind of change the messaging and everything for Funky Marketing, because it was all about demand gen. Now it's all about relationship centric marketing. Why? Because I want to do the full cycle. I don't want to be the guy or Funky Marketing to be the company that is just doing uh, demand gen through ads. I don't
Right.
want to do that. And I've been seeing so many people come to us just, we want to do just ads. Like we have content in house, we are doing this, and we just need somebody to come up with the ads. I don't want to be the guy or the company that is just executing small thing. I'm working
Right.
best when I have the strategy in my hand and when I can orchestrate things. And that's why I'm telling companies like, no, that's not the way to go. But it's been interesting because lots of companies are, recommending us, and clients are coming to us, and they're like, we reach out to this company because they are doing demand gen and talk about ads, talk about different stuff, and like they recommend you or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. We're not a feed, they recommend you or something else, and then like but they come to us to the things where that company is the best, not us. And that's kind of
Right.
make it interesting. So are we really fit? And I don't know about you. That's kind of also a good question I want to ask you. Is do you get the best customers from referrals from other companies and other people, or no?
Um, it's a mix for us. So some of the referrals we get, like we did get a referral actually from uh, Refine Labs. They send us some referrals now and then, and we got one that just was not a good fit. Really, what they wanted was they needed 10 new websites built, and I was like, look, we do websites, but we're not a website company with the processes to do 10 websites all at once, do it quickly, do it effectively. Like, We can do it when it's a custom website that we're building for a brand that we have done their strategy, we've done their design. The next step is their website. We can do that, but we are not a website powerhouse, so to speak. Like, we're not going to pump out 10 websites in a month. That's not us. And so I passed them on to a company I know that does 10 websites in a month. They might do 50 websites in a month, and they've got the processes down. It's like, they're going to be a better fit for you. But then we had another company send us a referral, and that referral falls into our ideal top, first class type ideal customer, that if we had 20 of them to work with, our lives would be wonderful, amazing. Like, they are the best clients ever. And so it's kind of a hit and miss. And what I've learned is, when the referring company specifically knows, like, this is exactly what to send us, it tends to be a little bit better than, hey, we know this company that also does something similar, they might be a good fit. And so I usually, any of the companies that we kind of partner with in way of referrals, like we send referrals back and forth, I always make sure they know specifically, if you're going to send us a referral, make it on this. Don't send us referrals for this, that, or the other, because it's probably not going to be a good fit. But if you send us a referral for, like, specifically for us, it's brand strategy. You send me a referral for brand strategy, like, it's probably going to be a good fit because they're already in the market for brand strategy, Like, what tends to happen is, if you send me a referral for, like, hey, they want a lead gen strategy and they want, like, some kind of document for people to download and whatnot, we're not going to be good, because my very first question to them is going to be, who are your ideal clients? What's your brand messaging? What's your strategy? What do we need to follow? And if you can't answer that before we tackle this, we have to do the brand first. And that's actually why we focus now in Shift. We focus on branding. Branding, and then we see content as a form of branding, so we still do content. But the reason why is, I would get hundreds of people coming to me saying, I want Facebook ads, I want LinkedIn ads, I want a lead gen strategy, I want a website. And when it came down to asking, who's your ideal clients, what's your brand strategy, what's your messaging, why, tell me why anyone should buy from you, and they couldn't answer that question, I'm like, I can charge you $12,000 for a website if you want me to, but it's not going to convert because it's going to have the wrong copy. I can charge you for Facebook ads, but if you don't even know who we're targeting, it's not going to work. I can charge you for a lead gen system, but if people don't give a rip about what you're trying to attract them to, it's not going to work. If we don't have the strategy down first, the rest of it doesn't work. And so when I started Shift, I just wanted to be fractional CMO. I'm going to have 5 clients. I'm going to be, do all of their marketing. And come to find out, one, I hated that. Like, can I do it all? Yes. Do I want to do it all? No. I want to focus on what I enjoy. But it was also, a lot of people would come saying, I know my ideal customers. And then you ask a few simple questions, and it's like, if you had even a basic understanding of your ideal customers, these are questions you should be able to answer. And so we started, Steph and Eager, my business partner, and I, we came up with this whole branding process that we take companies through. And by the time they're done, they know, like, you could ask them very pointed questions about their target market, and they know the answers now. And I'm like, now, and so, in some cases, what happens is they retain us to do everything else. We do their brand design, we do their website, we do their content, we do ads. We are their outsourced marketing department now, because we've done their brand strategy. But then sometimes they look at us and like, we don't really need you now, because we have all the answers. We know what to do now. And I'm like, that's the goal with a brand strategy, is now how to sell and how to market your product and service, because you know your ideal customers and you know the messaging, that's going to attract them. And that, to me, that's the ultimate goal, is we get you through a brand strategy and you don't need us anymore. Now, I like recurring income. Don't get me wrong. I want to keep you as an ongoing client, but ultimately the goal would be you understand your brand so well, you don't need us for that part. You might need us for the execution because you don't have the team to do it, and so outsourcing it is your only option. But you don't need us anymore because you know what you need to do. Yeah, so I went on like 5 different tangents there, but
Yeah, that's all good. I mean, I totally get that point. When you help them. Like before starting Funky Marketing, I was working in an agency which was performance marketing based, mostly lead gen and automation, and like it was a 3 month projects all the way, all year. Like 3 months they go away. We need to get the new ones.
right.
And it was actually one thing that made me change, because like I wanted us to implement different things so we can keep customers and focus on different customers. And actually
Yeah,
there was when you do automation, you cannot work with small companies. You need to go to the bigger companies when you can actually show what you can do with automation, the power of it, and all those other stuff. I don't mean like small automation tips and those kind of things.
right,
Like
right.
I mean, really like targeted drip campaigns that go in depth, and you can do lots of stuff. And basically, automate the way buyer's journey go. So whichever way they choose to buy, you have it optimized, and you have
Right.
automated way. And basically, we didn't do that. And I said, okay, man, I see how performance marketing works, but I was always more the guy for the content, for the brand, for doing things
Mm-hmm.
differently. And I said, let's go and do that because that's sustainable, and
Yep.
performance works until you have the budget.
Yep.
And so it got me to start Funky Marketing. But I would like to let's skip the ideal customers part, because
Okay.
I think we shared a few things and we talked about it here. But let's talk about the second step, which is actually the messaging and everything. When we
Yeah.
know who are our customers, how can we come up with the right messaging for the company? I think lots of people are talking about messaging, but not many are simplifying it and tell them, look guys, this is how you should do the messaging.
Yeah. So we have a process, like our branding process is ideal customers. Next is brand messaging. And so really what we do is we sit down and we figure out like mission, purpose, values, kind of your brand identity side first. So personality, are you going to be funky? Are you going to be suit and tie? Like what is the personality for us? We are the kind of snarky, like sarcastic. We call ourselves we're a little bit the rebel. Like both Steph and I, when we see crap, we call it out. And even if it's
Yeah.
even if it's industry standard, like everyone does this stuff. We're like, yeah, but everyone's stupid. So why would you want to be like everyone else? Like that's kind of our natural personality. So we're building that into the Shift brand. So we do kind of all that. And then when it comes to the messaging side, what we do is we start with an onlyness statement. And so what an onlyness statement is like, what do you offer that either no one else or so few people offer, and make that clear? Because really, if you think about it, any any company that you're starting, that you're running, I can get on Google and I can find thousands of your competitors like that. I don't even need to try. I just type in a few words and boom, I have your competitors right there, and you might not even show up on the first page. So when it comes to messaging, really what people are asking of you when they visit your website, when they have discovery calls with you and whatnot, what they're really asking is, why you? And if you can't answer that in a very unique, succinct way, you're going to lose them. Like I did a post yesterday and 10 seconds, like this was a few years ago, you had 10 seconds when people landed on your website to communicate the benefit you provide to whom and how before they bounce. Now that's really about 5 to 7 seconds. And what happens is you jump on most B2B companies' websites, and what you're going to find is we are the number one IT company in the world, or we provide the best at this, or fight this, and it's all like when I do discovery calls, one of the things I do is I jump on their website and look at their messaging, and I say, okay, here's one of your competitors. I took that messaging, I apply it to your competitor. It's true too. So you're not explaining to me why I should buy from you. And if you don't explain to me why I should buy from you, I'm not going to buy from you. Like, I'm not going to stay on your website. I'm not going to dig through to find that unique thing way at the bottom of the homepage. If it's not up in that hero section, very clear, this is why, you're going to lose me. And so we start with that onlyness statement. And it's basically, put a label on your ideal customers. For ours is for stagnant B2B service companies. Shift is the only, who are you? We are a brand positioning agency. We're not a branding agency. We are brand positioning. We are going to position you correctly in the eyes of your ideal customer. So we are a brand positioning agency that does what that is unique to you. And part of our I don't want to use the word gimmick because it's not a gimmick, but part of our uniqueness is that when we do a brand strategy for you, you're going to get like a customer blueprint, which is like 5 pages long. You're going to get a messaging document, which is like 14, 15 pages long. That's got everything you need. But what happens is you give all these documents over to a client, and it's like, I've got 50 pages I need to work through. I have no idea how this works. So what we do is we end it with a 1-page strategy document of, this is what you need to implement. Here is where you're going to find it in the documents that you have. And there's very few companies that do that kind of 1-page, here's what you need. All the rest of these documents are referrals or like referring documents for this. So we start there. And once you know that uniqueness, once you know that like this is what we offer that no one else does, then we do tagline, which is your 3 to 6 word kind of highlights the main benefit that you provide, that you slap at the top of your website. It's in your email signature, it's on your social media, all that. And then a one-liner, which is in one sentence, explain the benefit you provide to whom and how. Make it super crystal clear. Don't use jargon. Don't try to, and this is where most people fail in their brand messaging. They try to sound smarter. They try to sound more sophisticated. And what happens when you do that, your messaging is not clear because you will use word choices that's like, I want you to see that we're so elite and we're so awesome and we're so knowledgeable that we're dropping this big word here. And half your ideal customers are like, I don't even know what the heck that means. So I'm not going to stay on your website. Keep it super simple. Write it as though you're trying to explain what you do in one sentence to your grandmother. And if they can understand it, you've hit something. And so that's kind of the process that we use. We end with the messaging that's going to be on your website, is at least in the hero section there. That's the last piece of the puzzle that we create, because that's the messaging that needs to encapsulate your identity, your personality, your uniqueness. What is your competitive advantage? Who are your ideal client? Like, you need all of that in place in order to get to the point where you're saying, this is the messaging that's going to really help people understand what we do, how we do it, and who we do it for.
Yeah, that's well explained, and I like what you do with one pager and how
Yeah,
direct people. It's exactly the same thing that I felt that I need to do, and we have done it. Like, because we often work with companies just in a different solution. We work with companies and create sort of the hub inside the company, and then teach
right.
people and leaders how to better use LinkedIn to achieve results, to keep it super simple. And usually what we were doing is we were giving them at the end a one pager. If they don't, not everyone from the team will start right now with LinkedIn.
Right.
Some of them need time to think, to come up with some things. So we come up with that one pager. But then I decided this is something that we need to do, to give them when we start. And actually, all the other documents are basically links from that document.
Yeah.
And then they can go, aha, we had this lecture, you have the video, 45 minutes on this to extend, go ahead and watch it. Those kind of things, and it makes it
Yeah.
super simple for the companies. And actually, that's also what you do with every blog post or the article. The first
Yeah.
intro, you need to name it, and we often forget that.
Well, and that you touched on it right there. The whole purpose behind this is to make it simple, because we can give people, and the same is true for you, is you can give people an awesome strategy that like is going to make them a crap ton of money, but if it's so complicated that they don't even know, they don't have like a checklist or a, start here. It's almost like I tell people all the time, like our ideal customers, basically what you're paying for is for us to grab your hand, hold it, and walk you through step by step what we're doing in order that you do it right, you do it in the right order to make this process as easy and as smooth as possible. And a lot of people, and what I've seen from a lot of businesses, is when they create a strategy, they have this idea that strategy needs to be complicated, and it's like, here's this 50-page book. Like, let's be honest, I know a ton of companies that have, like, they've sent us, when they start working with us, we always ask for like, what have you done already, branding wise? Like, send us any documentation you have already so we can kind of look it over. Some of them have sent us a 50-page brand strategy, and I asked, how much of this do you guys actually do? Zero, because they
Yeah.
don't even know where to start in a 50-page brand strategy. They're like, we've got all this data, but we don't know what to do with it. We don't know, like, what does it mean that we, our personality is this? What does that mean to us? How does that incorporate into our content? We don't know. And so when we do our strategies, that's what we realize, like, they're not branders. Like, no one that comes to us knows branding, or they wouldn't come to us. So they don't know the things that come naturally to us. Like, here's your brand personality. Great. What does that mean? Like, so even in our strategy documents, when we send it over to people to review, to say like, here's what we've come up with for you, let's like look it over, let's jump on a call, let's talk it through, is we include a section in there that's like, how is this used? Here's how this is used internally, here's how this is used externally. This is where you might, like, if it's a brand message, like your tagline, we're going to say this is where you're going to want to put this tagline: email signature, website, your all your sales documents, all your marketing brochures, your slide decks, your demos. Like, this is where you're going to use all this stuff. We spell it out point by point, because they're not branders. They don't know where they need to use this stuff. They just know, hey, you gave us a tagline. Now what? Like, and that's the point of coming back to simplicity. If you can make it super simple for people to implement, like, you're going to keep them. Like, and that's been our biggest thing, is we've made it so super simple for people to implement that they're like, can you guys just do it for us? You bet we can. Here's how much that's going to cost. Like, that's how you keep people, is you, and this is what most businesses don't want to hear. It's more work for you. It is more work for us to come up with a one-page strategy per client. It's not a templated,
Yeah.
here's what you need to do. It is for you, based on everything we provided you and everything that you have in place now. Here's what you need to do. That is extra work. but it's extra work that has landed us more money. And that's what you need to think about when it comes to simplicity is it's more work for you. It's not simple for you as the company, but it is simple for your ideal customers. I tell my clients and the shift team all the time, if we only have one option, make it simple for us or make it simple for the client. Now, obviously, ideally, it's both, like that's what everyone's striving for. But if we had to choose one, we are going to make it simple for the client, even if it means more work for us, because then it's going to bring in more work and more money for us. And that, like, our conversation's coming full circle here. It's going right back to simplicity. Keep it as simple as possible for your ideal clients, and you will see more money coming in. You will see more return customers staying with you long term. Like, we have a few customers, we are their marketing department. Whether we provide that service or not, they come to us first and say, hey, this is what we need. Can you do it? No. Who would you recommend? So then we recommend them to someone. And in some cases, we still project manage it for them to make sure, like, hey, it's on brand, it's on message, it fits this whole strategy we're doing. Because that's, once you make it simple for people and they trust you, they're yours. Like, until you royally screw it up, or you just say, that's something we're not doing and we're not even going to help you find someone to do that on your own. As long, like, for some people, they have literally said, you're my marketing department, deal with it. And I'm like, I don't want to be your marketing department. Deal with it. You're our marketing department now. We're coming to you first. And the beauty of that is I now have long-term clients because of that, and it comes down to, boil this whole thing down, simplicity, know your ideal customer. Everything else falls into place.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's the same thing. Like this Friday, I'm going to travel from Serbia to Croatia in Zagreb to a yearly party of a client that's been with us from the start, and we are not doing a big service for them, but it's persistent, and they trust us. So we are the ones that they are asking if they're hiring somebody for marketing. Who should we hire? Can you help us pick the right person? Maybe you can help us with this additionally, those kind of things. And it's exactly what you said. It's that trust, that they have in you. And, and what additionally, what I would add, like, they're following what I'm writing on LinkedIn. They're following what other, guys from Funky Marketing are writing. And they come to us, the CEO comes to me like, hey, I saw you've been doing this with that client. Is that something that we can implement for us, or should we implement that? And that's how you increase the lifetime value as well for the clients. But what I wanted to say, there's a simple, I like to call it like lakmus paper. When you actually implement it and you see, do you have the brand and you know who you are? It's like, I like to ask companies, like, if your brand is a person and it walks right through the door this second, how it would be look like, or who that person would be, and not many companies have the answer for that. I didn't have the answer until I saw the video, and it's like Marvin Gaye singing the U.S. national anthem in it was Los Angeles for All Forum on an All-Star game, and like the circumstances was like he was having lots of troubles in the private life and everything else. He just came from Europe, and he wasn't even the first choice for the job. It was Lionel Richie, but not many people knew him at that point. So it was Marvin Gaye. He didn't even answer the phone the whole day, but they started looking for somebody else, but he came. And he came like in a suit, wearing the glasses that they were giving to the fans. So like even the letters were written the opposite way. He maybe knew that, maybe he didn't care. Nobody knows. But he just came in to the center of the court, there were players, on both sides, and the music started, and it looked like he's gonna sing, some of his, sexy melodies, and it was
Right.
like, oh, those kind of vibes,
Yep.
and people thought like, oh my god, they played the wrong melody. But then he started to sing the national anthem in a way that nobody else has sung it before him, and then the crowd started cheering up and everything, and the players were like, the game ended, like, Magic Johnson was calling people on her phone, man, what we have witnessed right now, and the players were like, "Whoa, we are now hyped. How can we be the bigger news than him right now when we play the All-Star game?" And that's kind of the way I see funky marketing. And it became the great example of what I'm saying to the clients and all the other people. Like, you need to know who your brand is, and if you
Yeah.
know, if you can describe it to me, and I look at your company, is that what I'm gonna see? Is that where, when I'm asking somebody from your company, is that where they're gonna tell me?
Right.
That they have the same vibe, they think the same things.
Yeah. And that's essential. Like, I think a lot of times when people think branding, they think external. And a big part of branding is external, but they tend to fail on the internal side of, if people in your company aren't replicating this brand in their own departments or in their interaction with clients, you might say one thing on your website and the reality is something different. And then what that does is causes distrust. So, and I see this a lot, especially when it comes to like the best example is like corporate values, where it's like, oh yeah, we value transparency, and then it's like they don't tell you any mistakes that they make, like all that, or they're like, we vet our customers first, and you come to them with one problem, and they're like, oh no, that's your problem. Like, we're not going to fix that, blah blah. It's like that right there, your brand. You might be saying your brand is we are customer centric, but really what your brand is saying is we don't give a rip about you. It's all about us. And that's what builds that distrust. And then people are like, I'm not going to continue working with you because you say one thing and then you deliver something completely different. It's a different experience than what you put out there. No trust is built that way. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's essential for you to know your brand and then to teach that brand to your ideal customers. It's even why part of our branding process, it's more of an add-on if they want it, is helping develop out those experiences of like, okay, for lead gen, how, based on your brand, how are you going to do this? Now, perfect example of this. When I do lead gen, I don't do gated content. All of our
Mhm.
content is either free, you can download it on email, or it is paid. If it's a bigger guide, something more valuable, we do have a few paid guides. Um, and that's part of my personality is we buck the system. We're not going to use the old tactics. We're trying to be helpful to people, be that kind of coach or mentor. um, so what would it say about my brand if I'm putting out on LinkedIn, you shouldn't use gated content, it's people don't like it and blah blah. I say that, but then you come to my website and it's like, hey, in order to get this content, I have to give you my email and be put into a drip campaign. Like, and the sad thing is a lot of brands do that. They say things or they give this intention or they give this perception of who they are, but then when you come to their website, it's like they're I probably shouldn't say this, but HubSpot for me is the perfect example. Is they try to be we are the marketer's best friend and we're going to help you be a better marketer. But if you want to download anything off their website, you are put into a sales cycle. You are not my friend when I download a simple template from your website and 5 minutes later I get a call from your sales team asking if I want to be like for a demo of your platform. No, that is not being a friend. That is, you are using this free template that I could have found from any other company in reality to get my contact information to turn me into a lead. That's not a friend. And so your brand is off. And people don't realize that like I did a post on this a few months ago. Your brand should affect everything you do, down to like if you have an actual corporate office, like we work out of our homes here at Shift, but if you have a corporate office, how often you empty the trash cans says as much about your brand as your website does. If I walk into your office and your trash can is overflowing and it smells and it looks like it hasn't been emptied in 4 days, what that tells me is you can't handle your stuff. Something as simple as emptying your trash can, you can't handle that. So why would I give you money to handle anything for my business? Like how you answer the phone, how you respond to an email, how you deal with someone who asks a question on LinkedIn, whether in a DM or in a comment, all that stuff says something about your brand and builds your brand. And if everyone on your team isn't in line with this is who we are as a company, if someone asks a question, we're going to answer them, even if it means we might miss out on a discovery call, because we could have said, oh, if you want that answer, you have to book a consultation with us and pay for our time. I'm going to answer the question and become your buddy, become your resource that you go to for all the things marketing. And then when you are ready to buy, I'm the one that's already helped you. I'm the one you come to first. Like it's how it works. And so all that to say, yes, your whole team needs to know your brand.
Exactly, man. Those things are like, look, like listening to this episode and coming to the end.
Yeah.
I know people can say, like, but guys, you were just talking about the foundation. This is the basic stuff. But actually, I can say that to any episode we done about, demand generation or advanced advertising or whatever, because it always comes down to the basics. If you set up the basics right, you are basically prepared for the success.
Well, and the reason, like, I I I have a post coming out about this tomorrow. This is actually tomorrow's. That like I have some clients that will say, I'm bored. I get bored with my content because I feel like I say the same thing over and over again. This year alone, year's not even done yet. We're in week 49 of this year. I have written a post about knowing your ideal client about 20, I forget the number. I think it was like 23 or 26 times. That means almost every other week, I am putting out a post about knowing your ideal customers. Why? Because even though people know it's foundational, they still don't do it. And so, like, to your point, hey guys, this is all foundational. Yes. And I will keep harping on the foundational stuff because 9 out of 10 B2B companies do not have the proper foundation. They think they do. But then when you start digging deeper, they can't answer, how would you describe your brand? Well, I think it's, you don't know your brand. If you can't describe
Yeah.
it like that, you don't know it. If I ask you, who are your ideal customers? Well, it's kind of corporations that deal with like IT, and maybe in this industry, you don't know your ideal customers. If you can't tell me it's these people, this is what they deal with, this is what they're looking for in a solution, this is what energizes them and motivates them and they love. If you can't answer those questions, you don't know your ideal customers. You might have a nice buyer persona that you've downloaded from the website and filled out. It's like, yeah, I know my ideal clients. If you can't answer simple questions, you don't. Nine out of 10 of the like the B2B companies that I get on discovery calls cannot answer basic questions about their ideal customers and about their brand. So I will continue to harp on the foundations until that number gets to be 9 out of 10 know their brand and know their ideal customer, and only 1 doesn't. Then we can move on to deeper stuff. But if you don't know your ideal customers, and this is why I harp on this so much, you don't know your ideal customers, you're not going to have the right brand messaging. You're not going to be on the right platforms. You're not going to create the right content. You're not going to generate the right leads. You're not going to have a good lead magnet. You're not going to have a good drip campaign. Your demand generation isn't going to work. Your LinkedIn ads, your Facebook ads, your Google ads aren't going to work. Like your salespeople are going to reach out to the wrong people. Your outbound sales emails are going to be wrong. You're going to target the wrong people with your outbound messaging. Nothing else works well. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. You can still get lucky and hit the right person with the right message.
Yeah.
It's not going to work consistently long term if you don't know your ideal customers and you don't have your brand solidified in the minds of you and your entire team. Everything else hinges on it. And what's sad to me is most companies, most solopreneurs, most, even enterprise level companies, they skip over it because it takes too long. And it's like, it requires time. Like some of our processes take 3 months before you can do it and do it well. Most people are like, I'll just fill out a form and I just want to get going. I want to make revenue. Well, do that. And what happens is within a year, you're going to call a company like us or a company like you to say, man, I'm not getting any inbound leads. I don't know why. Well, you don't know your ideal customer. So everything you're putting out, it might be great stuff, but it's great stuff that your ideal customer doesn't give a rip about. So why would they engage with you? Why would they reach out to you? Like we had one client, he was doing a lot of like leadership posts and motivational posts on LinkedIn. And I was like, what do you actually sell? Google courses? Why would anyone know what you do? I was like, I would have to dig into your profile to understand what you do. I thought you were a leadership coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would anyone work with you if you're doing that kind of stuff and all they think about you is, oh, you're one of these life coaches because you're just posting motivational crap.
And this just goes out to, like thinking of that, how many people do we know on LinkedIn that do that? I think it's the majority.
It is.
And like
it's engagement.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I don't know if you get those things, but now LinkedIn has this team that works with creators, and so I'm on some list, and they send me every week like these are the topics that will get engagement. You should write about it. It happened for a month and a half. I still didn't see the topic that I want to write about that will resonate with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's World Day of something. It's I don't know, like something like mental health, and those are all great topics. And I wanna write about it from time to time, but those are not my essential topics that I wanna talk about. But so many people get into those topics because it align with the majority. But that's how you will for sure blend in with everybody. That's what will happen.
And I mean, think about it. Like if your content isn't aligned with what your ideal customers are looking for, you're never gonna. And this is why I say content is a branding tactic, is because the goal of content is not to generate leads. That's not the goal. That's a byproduct that happens. But the goal is to embed your name in the back of people's minds as the solution for a specific topic. It's why all of my content is branding, content, or strategy. Because when you see my icon, my little profile picture on LinkedIn, what I want you to think in the back of your head, Jason equals marketing. Jason equals branding, content, whatever that might be. That's what he does. So if I need that kind of help, all of a sudden, Jason's name comes to the forefront of my mind because that's all I've done. Now, if I spend, Mondays, I write about mental health. Mental health is important. I love that topic. But mental health, I talk about my dog Buster. I talk about, I went on a hike and this is what my kids did. All that stuff. Great stuff. It gets engagement. But it's not a branding like what's happening is you're not associating your name with a solution. And so when they get to the point when they need your help, you're not even a consideration because they don't know what you do. And so it's why it's so important to know what you want to be known for and focus your content. Otherwise, what happens, and this is really why people, they won't admit it, but this is why people post that motivational, what I call fluff content, is because they're addicted to the dopamine. Like they want, They don't want the 10 likes per post. They want the 100, 200. They want the Justin Welches that get 1,200 likes per post. That's what they want. And they see, oh, polls will get me there. So I'm going to do a poll every single day. Or, oh, if I talk about if I post pictures of my kids, I'm going to get a bunch of likes. Great. Every once in a while, to get an engagement boost, do that. Work that into your strategy. If you're one of those people that's like, I got to share what my kids did this weekend, work it into your strategy. But understand, if that is your sole strategy, if you are just chasing engagement, you will sacrifice leads. It's just how it works. Because if you're trying to get more people liking your content's going to be less focused. It's going to be less on point, and it's not going to be targeted to your ideal customers. So more engagement typically means less leads at a point. Like for me, if my posts hit between 150 and 300 likes, it tends to mean I'm hitting my ideal customers. If they're hitting 600, it means I'm hitting too broad of a base, and I'm not going to get leads. I had posts that hit like 8,000 likes, 0 leads from that post because it was too generic. It hit too many people. You want to generate leads, focus on your ideal customers. It means when I post about branding, I get less engagement, which is crazy to me on a platform like LinkedIn that is all about growing your business, that these important topics that people don't want to face of like know your brand, that literally I tell people all the time, you don't want to pay me? Great. Go into my LinkedIn content, read every post I did the last 2.5 years. You have a branding, marketing, and sales strategy to grow your business. You don't need to pay me a dime. But that's not the popular content on LinkedIn. That's me posting about how like today's post was how to build an elite brand. That's never going to hit 1,000 likes. Just not going to happen. Doesn't matter how many followers I have. It's never going to hit 1,000 likes because it's not broad enough. But that post has already landed me discovery calls. I'll take 100 likes for a potential client as opposed to getting 1,000. And that's where when I see people like, just tell your story and show us this and show us that, I'm like, you're just after a dopamine hit, because dopamine is not going to get you leads. Focused content does. So, and I could rant on that forever. I know we went over, so I didn't give you the normal disclaimer I give when I'm on.
That's all good.
You need to interrupt me and shut me up because I will talk for hours.
No. I think we needed that perspective, and that is also something that I'm seeing. Like still the majority of people, not only on LinkedIn but on other social media, are just voyeurs, and that's how it goes. And they will look at it, but they will reach out if they need you, if they get educated enough, if they get aware that you are the one that can help them solve the specific problem, or if they don't even have it, but they got to know you, and then when they have the problem, they will reach out. Like just wanted to bring in a point. Like it happened this morning. Like a guy that I don't even know who he is. I gotta admit, if he's listening, sorry, man. Like we've been working with a company for almost a year, and I never met the guy, but he's been working for the company. Obviously, not in departments that we've been working with, but he changed the company, and he knew what the owners thought about us, because we helped them with the CRM, we helped them, enlarge the number of people who are converting from from free users to paid users, and lots of good stuff. And like this morning he reached out to me, hey Nemanja, I remember you from the times I was with that company, and now I changed the company, and do you have time today or tomorrow so I can connect you with my CEO so we can see what you do for us. We're looking for a company that can help us with B2B SaaS marketing. Yeah. And I never actually, I don't remember the name even, not anything. And it's not only the one thing. Like there are people that reach out to me and tell me, man, I want to talk with you about how can you help us, maybe even to be the CMO in the company. And he said, I needed to check your background. So I checked the one guy, which is also from Serbia, working with them, but from another city. I don't know the guy. But his friend was working for Funky Marketing, like Ivan Dimitrievich. You know him probably from LinkedIn as well. Yeah. And also he asked another guy that I didn't exchange the sentence with. I know him just from the likes and everything on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And like he asked two people, and they refer to me. They say he's a great guy, and basically that was all he needed.
Yeah.
So
the majority of my clients that have come from LinkedIn have never engaged with my content before they became clients. Like they were what I call lurkers. They didn't even like it. They've read it. Like a lot of them will even in a discovery call say, it was this post you posted. I'm like, you didn't comment or like on it. No, but I read it. I'm like,
and using exactly your words to describe it.
Yes. And like that's what most people don't get is why likes don't equal leads is the majority of the people who are probably going to work with you may never engage with your content. And that it's why you need to stay consistent is because you're making an impact even if you don't see it in likes and engagement. People are still seeing your post. They just might not be people that go through and like and leave comments. They might just go on there and read. But it's the same thing. I've had this is awesome. I've had clients come from referrals from people on LinkedIn that have never engaged with my content and I don't know, but they're like, oh yeah, this person like reads all of your content, like showed me your profile, showed me all of your content. They downloaded all these guides from your website. And I'm like, they're like, do you know them? Never heard of. I'm not even connected to them on that person on LinkedIn, and they still referred me. That is the beauty of building a solid brand and putting out content that's on topic and content your ideal customers want. Is they might not ever engage with the content, but you better believe at some point they're going to refer you or they're going to point your content to someone. Or I've had people say, I've taken your content and sent it to my CEO. And then the CEO books a time to talk with me. The CEO is not even on LinkedIn. But because like their sales development person is, or their, low-level copywriter in their marketing department is, now we have a foot in the door in that company because of the content. And that's why content, and really when I say that, I want to clarify on point content that helps your ideal customers produces results. Fluff motivational content might get you the good feelings because 1,000 people liked me, I'm popular. Great. I would rather pay my bills than be popular.
Yeah, that's it. I'll leave that for the last sentence because I don't know if we can do better than that. That's great. I mean, we need to do one more episode and go in depth about LinkedIn. That's definitely what we need to do because there are so many things that we just now mentioned, which is choosing the right audience, go with connecting with peers to get the ones that you need and those kind of things. But tell the people when they can find you, where they can find more information about you, and start getting all those small, simple nuggets that you're putting up.
So the best place is LinkedIn. It's just Jason Vana. Follow me there. I put out content Monday through Friday. It's all branding content and marketing strategy focused. You can visit the Shift website. We tried to be unique in this. So it's SHFT, no I, shift.marketing is the website. If you add /guides at the end, we have a ton of free branding and content guides you can download. No email required because that's dumb. Those would be the best places, LinkedIn and our website. You can also follow me on Twitter at Jason Vana. I post more marketing and content and branding related topics there as well.
Yeah, and guys, worry not if you're listening this, just check the notes. We will have in the description the links for everything. Jason, my man, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending an hour and 15 minutes here on the podcast, just jamming around topics that we like and care about. And guys, keep it funky. That's the ultimate message.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.